you go back to this idea of blue zones, and everybody wants to make a big deal about the diet of people in the blue zones. But when you actually dive into that story, it's actually the community, and it's actually being around people. And, I've heard people, very intelligent people say that loneliness is the new smoking. People are dying more of loneliness, even though we're more connected than ever. People are more lonely than ever. And even people who are in relationships and have people around them still have this thing that they cannot feel fully connected to people. So to think that something as simple as touch can spike your HRV, can help your heart rate variability. And I've, again, seen it in my own experience. You obviously have the data of other users. You can look at the reviews of this thing online, and people are seeing very similar results that, wow. And it's not something you go, I used the Apollo yesterday and I feel amazing. It's one of those gradual things that you look back a month or two from when you first started using it. You could use the Aura, you could use the Whoop, or you could just go, oh man, yeah, I do actually feel better now that I've been using this thing every day consistently for 2-3 months. And you start to see my digestion's better, my skin's improving. I'm not waking up with as much anxiety, on and on and on, with all of these conditions that start to slowly go away when you're using something like the Apollo.
Yeah, it's just like doing regular touch therapy or massage or getting a lot of hugs on a regular basis. It reminds the body that can enter that recovery state and then divert more resources to recovery. So some people, and there are a decent percentage of these people, in our experience, most of them are children or people with PTSD or a severe chronic illness where they haven't felt safe in sometimes decades. These people will often respond very, very quickly to Apollo, where they'll start to feel like within a few nights of using it, that their sleep is noticeably better. They're feeling noticeably more energy during the day. And then they'll start drinking less coffee or drinking less alcohol or just using less stimulants and sedatives on a regular basis because they feel more in control of their energy and how they feel, their mood. And that is also something that happens for a lot of people. But I think it's important, what you said, which is that while some people do get a relatively quick response, and you can, if you use Apollo, as we recommend on our website, which you could find at How to Get the Most Out of Apollo in our blog post, which is probably the most helpful place to go. The effects, more interestingly, are cumulative. So even if you notice or don't notice an effect right away, the body is being trained to respond better to stress, and it's being trained to be more resilient. And I think what's really fascinating that you'll find very exciting is that soothing touch is expected to induce regular soothing touch by nature of how it works in the body is expected to induce similar responses to in the body over time that exercise and meditation do when they're practiced regularly. And now that we've followed people with using Apollo over the course of a year, what we've actually seen is that when people start using Apollo regularly, on the order of about 3 or more hours a day, having it vibrating on their bodies, and about 5 or more days a week, we start to see that these people are getting, within an 8-week time frame, they're getting comparable benefits to what you would get from adopting a new meditation practice or exercise routine for 30 minutes a day for that same amount of time. Because all of these techniques are training the autonomic nervous system to be in balance. They're training us for recovery as much as they're training us for peak performance. You can't have one and not the other. So we must, if we want to perform at a high level, if we want to be able to access flow states whenever we want, which is really just being present and mindful, these states are activated by safety techniques. So we have to practice the safety techniques, whether it's with Apollo, whether it's with gratitude practice or self-compassion, self-love practices, or whether it's with breathwork or yoga or meditation or mindfulness or any of these other things we've talked about. We have to train ourselves with these techniques so that we can optimize our ability to enter into these flow and peak recovery states as often as possible. And that will make sure that when stress comes, when challenge comes, we're at our peak or closer to our peak to be able to adapt and cope with whatever comes our way.